You want anything else? Get another cat.
The factory doors are closed. The workers have all been sent home. The furnace has been shut down. This shit is over.
Lights are off. Ain't nobody home. Ain't nobody coming in. Ain't nobody going out.
So let me be sure I understand this. Paul.
Wait, this is going to be bad.
You're not going to go ahead and join one of those Facebook groups where you travel around the world donating your sperm to inseminate as many women as possible so that you can have literally thousands of little Pauls running around?
And I want to pay 1,000 child support bills? Fuck you. No.
There are better ways to establish a legacy.
I've never understood the whole point of the legacy thing.
I'm
in my 50s now, and I'm watching my parents who are in their 80s. And we've downsized them 3 times now. And every time the stuff that is more dear than life itself suddenly is throwawayable. It's suddenly you can dispense with it and there's no question. And they don't miss it. So when we talk about this stuff, it's like, how much are we really holding on to that really doesn't mean a hill of beans in the long run?
I have a garage full of stuff that I'm holding on to that it doesn't mean a hill of beans.
I got a bunch of shit in my garage.
Now I just have to convince my wife of that.
So it's just one of those deals where I just sit there and I wonder just how we spend so much time on this. I mean, they spent a whole lot of money on art, never got that money back at all for what they paid for that art. So it made them happy for a while, but it wasn't an investment that was going to accrue money. So basically, if something stops making you happy, I guess you should get rid of it.
That's the whole, if you've read the Marie Kondo stuff, if it no longer brings you joy, find another place for it. Whether you're donating it, recycling it, or trashing it. But
if it no longer brings you joy, say ahoy.
Pretty much.
I'll say ahoy.
Yeah.
I know it's you can be used in both terms, but I always think of ahoy when entering or seeing somebody, not when you're saying goodbye. Kind of like aloha.
Anyway. Maybe right. Maybe it doesn't mean the other.
I don't know. All I know is I understood
so I went
context.
with that. So there.
That works.
You can be wrong. You prove it every day.
Absolutely.
Whereas I am infallible.
Infallible?
You were supposed to say infallible, and then I said yes. But you ruined the joke. This is what I have to work with, Chad. It's just, it's hopeless.
I've decided to just let you flounder around on your own with this humor because me holding you up and supporting you when you're not that good at it is just not doing you any favors.
And you're not doing a really good job of supporting me now, are you? Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dev Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Joining me, as always, Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon. How the hell are you people?
Here. Good. Accounted for.
Accounted for? Accounted for? That's it?
Not bad.
You have nothing to report?
Oh, no, I've got stuff to report.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah. Let's see. I finished pickups. I think I finished all my pickups for this year. I don't think I'm going to get any more pickups for projects until the start of next year, which will be nice. So I've got a break in the booth. I had one book that had over 100 pickups on it. So that was
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, misunderstandings with pronunciations.
Oh, you gotta love those.
Yes. That's a whole other story. So, still working on projects, sat down and hashed out some more Patreon things for myself. I put together a rate sheet for 2025. Yeah, pretty much going, how are all the different ways somebody can work with me? And I realized there are a lot of ways, and a lot of different cost breakdowns. So yeah, it was an interesting work through, and I've got to respond to 2 authors who I met at Author Nation who now want to investigate books for next year.
Excellent.
Yeah, one is somebody I volunteered with, and she writes I'm not sure if it's YA or new adult, but it's fantasy with Nordic and Viking influence. So I'm like, ooh, this sounds badass. So, and then the other
Can't
is
wait to hear you try and pronounce that happy horse shit.
It's not that's not actually terrible.
Okay.
I've had to do Norwegian accents before. And if I have to pronounce Swedish, I have a colleague who is fluent in Swedish. And she narrates in both English and Swedish. So,
all right, you're covered. I'll stop worrying about you then. I won't stop making fun of you, though. That's not going to stop.
Of course not. I would expect nothing less. I mean, I'm not going to go all Swedish chef on somebody.
I think you totally should. You absolutely should.
No.
Julius approves.
Apparently.
Julius is just trying to, appropriate your headrest or be your headrest.
Hey, Jason. Long time no see.
No kidding. So yeah, that's my life right now. Oh, and a lot of baking. Way too much baking. But that's
and my wife both.
Can there possibly be too much baking?
When you're trying to lose weight, yes, absolutely. All of it could be unnecessary.
That's too much eating. That's not too much baking.
The problem is there needs to be a taste tester.
So you have your wife do that, which opens up another can of worms.
Yeah.
No, I have to try to bake stuff that goes to the kids' teachers and admin at their schools, and I have to stop other people from taste testing too much, so I have enough. So I literally have to make like batches of spicy Chex Mix, and then today I had to buy more ingredients so I could make the spicy Chex Mix that would stay here at the house. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, Terry,
what about you, Terry?
What do you know?
I know that I'm letting myself in for more trouble.
Oh God.
More trouble?
Mm-hmm. As you recall from last week, I'm going to get the upstairs and downstairs bathrooms remodeled. And started looking at the kitchen going, we're already going to have them destroying the house for 2 months. Maybe we should just go ahead and get the trifecta.
You don't get extra points for doing it all at once.
No, but I get less disruption if I do it at one time.
True.
Theoretically. We'll see how that works out. I think you should do what you need to do to get it done. But I understand instead of being under the gun for 6 months of construction bullshit, then hopefully you'll only be under the gun for 2.
Well, they claim that it's going to be 2 months for the bathrooms. Mm-hmm. He said it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks per bathroom. So just for, counting out the stretch on it, he said count it as 2 months for the entire project.
Okay.
And so if they do the kitchen when they're doing the downstairs bathroom and tear them both down at once, then maybe it won't extend it very much beyond that 2 months.
That'd be nice. You just kind of have to be a recording fool.
Pretty much, but the reason that I need to make it, do it once and be done with it is because for the entire period of this renovation, all of the cats are going to be in the 3 upstairs room, my office and the other 2 rooms, closed in.
I forgot about that.
So if I figure if I'm going to disrupt their lives for an extended period, I should just go ahead and get it done rather than doing it 2 times.
I agree.
That makes a lot of sense.
Did you get anything done?
I've been doing reading on the Empire Bone stuff. I need to get the short story that I'm supposed to write done.
I knew you were still procrastinating. I knew it. I know the feeling. I understand it completely.
I'll get it done this week.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
It's due by next weekend. I'll make it happen. It's a short story. How hard could it possibly be?
Oh my God, the famous last fucking words.
I know, right?
Can I have another week? This should happen.
He wants 7,000 words.
Oh.
Yeah, that's...
Dude, that's nothing.
It's going to end up being 10,000 words by the time I'm done, because that's pretty much how I roll.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Roll. Yeah, I understand.
My short stories are not that short.
No, I don't write short stories anymore either. I think I've been capable.
Who wears short shorts?
On that note, before we go down that mad and twisted road, let's see.
Well, hang on a second. Since we started down that twisted road for just a moment. What? There's a commercial that's going on that I've seen now a couple of times that is dealing with, it's a cologne for men thing where they've got women blindfolded that they walk in. And I'm going, does anybody realize that makes women look stupid when they go, oh, the smell, it's everything. No. You just look idiotic.
Wait,
I'll have to see if I can find
this commercial.
Yeah, I'll have to see.
I will see if I can find the commercial and put it into there. But they're all like, huh, sniffing the air with their blindfolds on as the guy walks around them. I'm like, you just look stupid when you're doing that. That does not make women look anything other than chained by their hormones. It's retarded.
I haven't seen the commercial, so I have no idea. That does sound pretty bad, though.
This is the season for ridiculous perfume commercials. Because I'm like, I wonder, it's like, I don't know what they get this person. Let me get them a bottle of something expensive and stinky. That's it.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm not going where I was going to go. Let's see. Did I ever write short stories? Yes. The Fiends collection, there's not a story in there. It's over 5,000 words. Other short stories, anyway. Trying to harsh my mellow. I've got the new book over 31,000 words now. I am through the swampy middle, so we're basically rocketing through. The crazy is really starting to ramp up. The body horror has been to the extreme. I'm probably going to have to go back and do a couple more things in a couple of places. But I'm pretty happy with where it's gone, and I think there's probably some more detail I need to add, but I'm really excited to see where this actually goes, because I made a decision to go ahead and go full tilt boogie on transformation. So it's going to get a lot more creature feature-esque very, very soon. So I'm excited about that. This should be fun.
Are you going full Jeff Goldblum?
Oh.
I mean, if you go full Goldblum, you can't go back. So.
Not quite there yet.
Oh, okay.
But things are falling off. Let's just put it that way. And other things are growing. So yeah, full tilt boogie. I'm excited about it. And I got some recording done, which is good because the patrons need that shit, and I also need to keep far enough ahead from the podcast. So I've got 7 chapters left to record of Evolution. 7 more, they're big ones too. But I'm getting closer. Just gotta kind of manage my time, and of course things have been stealing from that, which things I will not go into. But anyway. So that's what's going on with me.
I posted a link to the video in live.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I'm afraid now. I'm very afraid.
You should be afraid. Leo is afraid.
Leo is afraid. Terry, you're going to have people in your house.
I am.
Veronica, are you having people in your house for Christmas?
I mean, yeah, I'm hosting Christmas dinner. But I'm not. I will have 2 teenagers in the house over holiday break. How about that?
So basically your routine has been disrupted.
Oh, the routine gets disrupted every time winter break starts. Routine gets disrupted for 3 weeks. It's
right.
a given.
So I am lucky. I don't have anything to deal with except for Rogue, who basically I spend 2 hours a day messing with because he tries to tear me apart otherwise. So he steals time from me. I've had to figure out new routines to mitigate that, and when I write and when I try and get creative with things, just because basically, oh, he's napping, let's go do something. I'm hoping this wears off. But it did bring this up with this topic that you wanted to talk about. Is how are you going to protect your creativity when you've got all this craziness going on? Your kids may be home from school, you may have relatives over, and you've got a deadline to deal with. You've got words you have to get out. There's just you've got to keep on schedule no matter what. How the hell do you manage it? Don't all answer at once.
I'll let you know when I find out.
Well, I think the one thing to ask yourself is, do you have to be, there's a difference between being creative and being productive.
Sure. Let's talk about being productive then.
Okay. So if the goal is you have to be productive and all of this stuff is going on around, the first thing that you need to do is, yeah, I would, except alcohol abuse runs through my family, so I kind of run away from that. Thanks. Yeah. So the first step is to actually list out what you have to do. And so you're realistic about it, because I don't know about other folks, but when there's a lot of stuff going on around me and I know I have to get stuff done, the busy makes it seem like there's a lot more to do than there actually is. And so I spend my time worrying about how I'm going to get stuff done rather than actually getting stuff done. So Post-its. I will sit down and for every day, I'll say, okay, what are the 3 things that I have to get done? Or the 3 things that I want to do. If I've got to write something, I put that down. And then it's seeing how do I rework the day so I can do things. And if that means I leave the house, or I say, okay, example, next week my schedule is going to be toast. Because from my youngest, who's still in high school, they have early release 4 days out of the 5 because they have exams. 4 days?
Right.
Sorry, 3 days. Because what they do, 7 periods of classes. Their 7th period final is Tuesday at the end of the day. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, essentially morning is for one class, afternoon is for the other. And she has to get picked up at 2:15, 2:30. There's no bus. That she goes to a school that doesn't have bus service. So I know I'm going to have to leave and go pick her up and bring her home. And that's an hour of driving with traffic. So what am I going to do?
Get her a learner's permit. Get that girl some driving.
I would, except children are expensive to insure on cars. And it is not cost effective. And the rules here in Florida are you have to have your learner's permit for a full year before you can get your license. So it would not be a solution right now, unfortunately. I was spoiled last year when I had a kid who did drive. But what I can do is I go, okay, if I'm doing business things, can I take the day and just work away from the house? I'm not distracted by what's going on in the house. I can sit at my favorite coffee shop that has questionable Wi-Fi, so I'm not distracted. I'm telling you, coffee shop with lousy Wi-Fi is fantastic for getting shit done because you cannot be distracted by YouTube or Facebook or your social.
I'm laughing from recognition. I'm not laughing at what you said.
It's okay. So, but if I do that, then I'm working out of the house. I'm less distracted. I'm going to get that stuff done in the compressed amount of time. I'm only bringing what I need to work on. So that automatically limits my focus. And then I pick her up. I head home. And I don't have to worry about work tasks anymore. Those are done. I've gotten the creative and the productive things done. And now I'm back on the holiday nonsense.
So when we were having our flooring done, and I couldn't work at home because the upstairs was being torn out, and working downstairs with all the cats is just, completely chaos. Couldn't manage it. I took my iPad and a Bluetooth keyboard and went to the public library.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're already into the strategy stuff. I've talked about the fact that I can go write at a bar. In fact, I'm pretty damn productive when I get out of the house and I go sit somewhere because I have nothing else to do. Nothing else can bother me. The pets leave me the fuck alone because they're not there. I can get some concentration, which is weird because there's, 20, 30 people drinking and talking and everything else in the bar. They just go away from me.
So why don't you do that every day and get more productive?
Well, they closed my favorite bar that I could do that at. Aww. And I have not had money to do much else of anything, but my wife is kicking me into the coffee shop, I think, very soon. She's sick of my shit. I need to get out of here.
So at the door.
Yeah, I mean,
go right.
Yeah, but I like libraries are free.
Yeah, libraries are free.
And they even had little privacy rooms where you could, if they weren't being busy, you could go in there and you didn't even have to listen to the little bit of noise that there was in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's if you're in a place where there are decent libraries where you can work there, that's fine. If you need space and a spot where you can get your favorite beverage, maybe that's not a choice. But sometimes just shifting up your environment and getting away from something that's noisy and chaotic is fantastic.
If you have a computer that can be mobile, it doesn't necessarily have to be an iPad, just a laptop, something else, you can always go to a park. Usually those are okay. The weather may be inclement, so it might prevent you. Might be raining, might be cold, might be hot, God only knows. But there are locations that are not your house that you can go to change up the scenery and to attempt to get work when you can't work around the house.
Now, what if you're stuck in the house? What if so for those of us who, like when my kids were younger and they were at home, I didn't have my free time that opened up happened at the end of the day.
Right.
And also if being creative is your second job, and you're still managing a full-time job, you're still managing school and other responsibilities, then you might not have the luxury of leaving your living space. So what do you do then?
I know what I would do. I'd tell the family, you're going to leave me the fuck alone for 2 hours or there's going to be blood on the floor.
Well, yeah, you set boundaries. And you either you try to find a space where you can close a door or curtains. My previous office didn't have a door, so I got blackout sound curtains, and if I was working, those curtains got closed. And it was just a signal to other people that, hey, I'm doing stuff here. You will have my attention when I'm done. And it's often communicating to other people where that boundary is. Like, look, Brett.
Boundaries are for football, not families.
That is not good mental health. Boundaries are for everybody. How do I know? I have been lectured by a 16-year-old teenage girl. Repeatedly.
So you have to have a guy that you don't really know that well come into your house wearing a referee's uniform and call fouls and throw flags on bad plays.
Matt says in the UK we also have shared office spaces. We have those too, where you can go in and hire a desk and chair. My local one is about £15 a day, cheaper than a couple of beers. It is, and they're there, but they can get expensive pretty fast, and it kind of limits you on how long you can go there. Yeah. When I go to the bar, I'm ordering lunch and an iced tea. I don't drink any alcohol when I go there to write.
Yeah, and generally, if you're going to go to some kind of eating establishment to write, you want to make sure that you're, buy the coffee,
and tip
buy
well.
a small meal
and tip well.
and tip, because you're taking up, depending upon the space you're in. Like the coffee shop that I go to, it's like the second office space for half of the College of Business at the local university.
Oh, no.
I'm not kidding. I've seen several. I had a lovely conversation with two of them about how I just needed to open a poutine truck because I'd make bank just selling French fries and gravy. And we talked about, he'd just come back from Edmonton. It was a long story. It was a great conversation. I got no work done.
Now, what kind of food was that again?
Fries and gravy.
Yeah, it's French fries and gravy and melted cheese on top. It is still delicious.
I thought you had mentioned the name of it. I couldn't. Did you say it was poutine? I was trying to hear what you said.
It's
poutine.
Okay. So Americanize it, poutine. The French poutine.
Poutine.
Okay.
Poutine. Yeah. So, anyway. Crap.
You have to stay focused.
You have to stay focused. So, and then Krista, how do you communicate the cats to leave you alone? Well, this is a problem that all three of us have. And cats are like toddlers. You can't always tell them no. They don't understand no.
I've got a door behind me that I can throw somebody out in the hall and close the door.
The cat furniture, thank you, Terry. This helps immensely because they can come in here, they can run around, and then they just want to be in the space.
Yeah.
Mine are a little older. They just want to hang around. And if there's one that absolutely needs attention, that's what the 2 bags of catnip that I keep within arm's reach. You think I'm joking? Really?
Do you dope your kids too?
As somebody that is not a lawyer, I still advise you not to answer that question.
Please remember, this is recorded. It is history forever because Google will never delete it.
I know how to keep my cats happy. And a little bit of catnip. And they get to play and enjoy themselves. And then they go crash out someplace. And it's perfectly fine for them. With my kids, when they were younger and I had to do work, I'd either get up early and do stuff before the day job, or do stuff in the evening.
Bourbon in a bottle is not a bad thing. Bourbon in a baby bottle. Messes, I thought you said poutine or poutine, which is Irish potato whiskey vodka, a very different...
Yes. But I know people who have both together. Yeah. Anyway.
If you're going to play hooky from the house, you have to actually get shit done. That's how it's supposed to work. Even if you're just going there to brainstorm and write in your notebook and kind of doodle and play around and shit. Point is, it's time for you to be you and do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Cogitate.
You be you,
right.
Do what you need to do.
I have a cruise we're going on next year, and it's going to be longer than I like in some ways. But I am going to have books due. I have got to write. And the last couple of cruises I've taken, I've managed to take a tablet or a laptop with me to write. And the way it works is basically there's downtime on a cruise when you're at sea. There's downtime when you come back from excursions before dinner. There's downtime in those areas where people just that you're with go sack out and nap. That's when I head to the bar and order a scotch and write.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I exist on and stay productive on the ship.
Yeah, when I've gone on cruises, I've got one coming up. It's a narrator cruise, so there's like a conference on the boat. But on shore days, I'm not planning to do any excursions because I'm going to sit and write. Mm-hmm. I've done those vacations enough that I know what I like to do, and I know it's like, not my favorite thing. I can't sit in the sun. I will become a lobster. So will my spouse, even faster. So it's in my best interest to go find a quiet corner, grab a notebook, and put words down.
I got to tell you, Most times when you go into a professional thing, there's already going to be a lot of talking. A narrator's cruise, you are not going to get anyone to shut up.
Jesus Christ.
You can't. It's true. It's true.
And they're all going to be doing their voices. All dramatic. Will you please pass the salt shaker?
Oddly
I
enough,
suspect not.
no. But there are interesting things that happen. I promise you.
Oh, that sounds like a story for After Dark.
I have to cogitate about a story.
I've got an itchy owie. It hurts.
You got an itchy owie and it hurts?
I do.
What's your itchy owie?
Well, being older, you know about how skin thins and you're easier to cut. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Castor decided to jump up on top of me and use my arm on my armrest as a thing. So I've got this nice little thing right there. Oh, just happened like an hour ago. So
yeah, this one's like faded.
I don't. But the huge scrapes I got on my legs are almost healed from November. Thanks, Belle.
If narrators are anything like dancers, you can tell a dancer on a cruise, they're at the bar. They're at the bar as far away from the dance floor as possible. Yeah, I imagine that's true.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there is like cruise ship karaoke, which people do. I have learned my lesson.
Brett says, now writing during Mardi Gras, that's an award-worthy pursuit. Holy shit. You know, the only way I could write at Mardi Gras is if I managed to find a bathroom I could occupy for like 2 hours and write with the thing on my lap, because I think that's the only place you could possibly find any sense of privacy.
I suspect if you're in the bathroom for 2 hours, they don't think you're doing writing.
Probably not, but hopefully you have a hotel room where that's not an issue.
I mean, you could go to the cathedral in Jackson Square if you're in New Orleans. That place is probably going to be deserted during Mardi Gras.
Probably.
Now, Ash Wednesday, that's a whole other thing. But the night before, nobody's going to be in that church.
That's very, very true. Zender says, where is my favorite fantasy space opera with my fantasy space station with magic farms that grow trees?
It sounds like a magic project.
Why not just have, space or agro place that just grows farm stuff and trees all there in space? It can happen. Doesn't even have to be space fantasy.
That's true. That is very true. But the magic would be more expedient than having to wait for the trees to grow.
See, there's something to having a biosphere in a large spaceship so that people can, unwind from the pure mechanicalness of it, and it helps the life support system and gives you extra food that isn't the same sort of canned slop that you would have otherwise.
Right. Which is why back in the olden days, they used to carry livestock with them on the ship, live livestock, for portions of the ship or portions of the trip, because they couldn't preserve meat as long. So they had to basically bring the animals with them. Very interesting stuff. So something to think about when you're talking about long journeys through space is how the fuck are these people eating? Mm-hmm. What are they eating? Where's it coming from?
How is it staying fresh?
Yeah, exactly. And which of you cannibals is actually raiding the life support and dragging people out, who you deem unpalatable to be settlers, and eating them and then shoving them in the waste disposal to then be consumed again through the slop that goes through the life support system, thus creating the perfect crime.
Paul, don't give away the plots to your stories right now.
Which of you sickos is writing that? Not me. Anyway, it's interesting that you have that, which also opens up, depending on what your universe is alien produce and alien animals, fauna. That's the word I'm looking for. In one of my weird physics space fantasy settings, I had trees that floated and moved toward light sources. Well, why not?
Well, okay.
Wait, not that one. Matt says, have you seen some of the pics of plants growing in space? Zero gravity equal confused plants.
Mm-hmm.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that indeed. Antoine, now that is a story idea. A bunch of utilitarians trapped in a situation that requires cannibalism for survival. Yep.
Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this index of how useful people are, and the ones that's not useful, they're dinner.
Now,
so I suggest everybody get a little busy, if you know what I mean.
Wait a minute. What's that we shit? An AI is going to make that decision for you.
Ooh. It's much more drama if you have the people having to decide that.
Oh, no. I think it's much more terrifying if it's the AI, because you cannot bribe the AI.
See, that's the difference. You're looking for terrifying because you're a horror writer. I'm looking for drama.
I'm looking for both. How do we appease this machine so it doesn't put us on the short list?
Eat the circuitry. Nom 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 nom.
And what happens when it chooses the captain?
I imagine there'll be mutiny.
But will there be?
How does it enforce its dictates?
Well,
that is a very good question.
And what if the captain has not been the first?
Tim says, Screaming Meat is my new band name.
I'm not sure that you could use that because, some of my girlfriends in the past may have claimed that and trademarked it.
It says this like the spare parts lottery. Sacrifice one to save 10, even if one is healthy. Yep. I am meat and I must scream. Thanks, Tim.
Parts is parts.
I am meat and I must feast.
Okay, stop sharing your short story.
Screaming Meat sounds like a porno, doesn't it? It's just I can just see the shrieking penis going on here. It writes itself.
I'm now imagining, you know those rubber chickens that you squeeze them and they scream?
It's Screaming Meat or It Hurts When I Pee. Okay.
Well, we've really gone downhill, haven't we?
I think we have sufficiently gone off topic, and we've been so good the previous shows. Oh my gosh,
we've been good for like a couple of months. We're allowed a fuck off episode, and this is it apparently.
But we went from how to be creative during the holidays to
I am meat, I must scream.
Yes, to sci-fi horror cannibalism, to Screaming Meat, however you want to interpret it.
Why are we in After Dark already?
It's a free preview.
Oh, Tim's got the right idea. Tim knows why.
It is.
Darkest week of the year.
We are 1 week until the solstice.
21st is coming. Mm-hmm. Which means I'll be another year older.
Winter is coming.
Ugh.
But not the book. Yet.
Apparently not.
It's never coming. He is never going to finish that series. Ever.
I'm not saying that aloud. Yeah, I am. Screaming penises.
Because that's not what it would be. It's SIES. There's a different word there.
Sanders says, so holiday stories. How far do you go to avoid using holidays in your stories, or do you revel in the holiday time in stories?
There is definitely a market for holiday short stories or holiday novellas. You just need to be careful that whatever you choose to write doesn't go Star Wars Christmas special on you.
It needs to be more Die Hard, less Star Wars Christmas special.
Well, so some people, with like romance, cozy mysteries, contemporary stuff, you have like, they're short little pieces, but people look for them. However, now is not, if you start writing one now, you want to put it, you want to get it published and out to market in October of next year. That's usually when stuff goes through.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, and Brett, yeah, there's totally a market. I met an author at a conference, and I see him every year at like Author Nation. And one of the only reasons I remember him is because he only writes Christmas cozies.
Oh,
That's
God.
all he writes. But they sell. And it's just, it's a very niche market, but he really, really enjoys it. And it's, you know, I don't
works
think
for Hallmark. What can you say?
Yeah. There's no problem.
I was going to say, one of the reasons it works in Die Hard is because Christmas is the whole reason he's there. Mm-hmm. And Christmas is the whole reason they have the party. And Christmas is this. Christmas is the backdrop and the driver for almost everything that is going on in that, how that movie works.
Right.
I've got an automatic weapon. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, it's not so subtle in other places, but it starts out subtle, and then basically they keep poking fun at it. So yeah, it's a fucking, it's a holiday. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a Thanksgiving movie.
Right.
There is no other way that movie would happen if it wasn't around Thanksgiving.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily focus on our typical Thanksgiving traditions. It's about, poor Steve Martin putting up with John Candy as they're trying to get home.
I might set a story around Christmas just because there are certain things you can do at Christmas that you can't do at other times, which is people not being around.
True.
In other words, you may have a case where half the block or 3/4 of the block is all out of town. Mm-hmm. And depending on what's going on, at least in some more isolated environments, it also means that there's not as much traffic on the road. Once the holidays get kicking and everybody is where they're at, where they're trying to get, things become kind of a ghost town in a lot of ways because everybody's with family. Mm-hmm. I would use that as a setting for a horror story, definitely, because you have that sense of isolation and maybe nobody is next door. But I think like that. But the holidays do offer some opportunities for some interesting deals because a lot of people get together. There's all sorts of drama and it happens at Christmas time. All sorts of crazy happens at Christmas time. So I think it's a good time to set things. But I wouldn't set it just because it's a Christmas story. Or make it a Christmas story when it's not, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, if you can, like, I have a Christmas cozy in my head for the same Storyverse that my bowling romance is in, because it's set in the same town. And essentially, why? My oldest ran Christmas tree selling tents for Home Depot for a couple years. And he had some great stories. Well, it's a great opportunity for a meet cute. And I was like, oh, what could we do? Well, our male protagonist is going to find some poor, freezing little kittens in the Christmas tree tent. And he's going to have to, figure out how to rescue them and save them. And he doesn't know anything about kittens. But that new girl who just got hired at the vet hospital, she knows about kittens. So, meet cute with kittens. And Christmas, because you wouldn't be able to find them in a Christmas tree tent unless it was around Christmas.
And you got to have some cute cat sweaters to go along with that.
Meowy Christmas.
Ugly cat sweaters.
Well, no, I'm talking the actual sweaters that the cats wear. Put them on the kittens with a little cute little.
Oh my
God! Have you ever tried to dress a kitten?
Yes,
Jesus.
Yes. I distinctly remember having to get like a sock and cut it to put on Caroline after she got spayed, so she wouldn't lick her stitches. And then she promptly crawled into one of my daughter's like dresser drawers, and we couldn't find her for half a day. And then we go in there, we find her sleeping with this like red sock all over her and all the fluff sticking out.
Matt says I stopped working weddings because there was almost always problems. Put everyone together with history and alcohol, and things always go bad somewhere. Yes. Mm-hmm. No alcohol allowed at my family gatherings.
Brett says my cat
Brett says my cat refused to wear clothes, although once she did let me put a sweater on her. I had a dog that, Luna would get really cold and she refused to wear a sweater. Drove my wife nuts.
When we adopted Clyde, we saw him at the adoption center, I knew I had to rescue him because someone had put that poor cat in a Miami Dolphins jersey. And I'm like, no, this is cruel, unusual punishment. You must come home with me.
I can see it now. He's got the phone out. He's like, what are you doing? I'm calling the ASPCA. This is animal abuse right here.
I mean,
depending on what part of the season it is, it was. Anyway, that notwithstanding, what were we talking about? Holidays. Holidays.
And I think what's really important is if you get burned out, you need to give yourself permission to step back and recharge. Like, and I know pot kettle black. I'm the last person to take my own advice on this. But there are times where you've worked, like you've done your job things, you've done a handful of the creative things, you've had to do some home things. Like I've got to go back. I have no more mental energy. Crap. So find a way to decompress. And that's the thing. Creative doesn't have to be productive. You can still be creative by going for a walk and having, music that inspires you to write and just let your brain wander. There's nothing wrong with that.
Have you ever actually walked through a path with trees, with leaves? It only really works when there's leaves and everything else. Have you ever walked through and just looked at the patterns?
Yeah. Well, we don't necessarily have that many.
Well, one of the things I love to do when things are really fucked up is go for a walk through down the Stephen King Trail, which is basically, that's what I call it anyway. It's got trees on either side of the path, and they meet in the canopy, so the place is pitch black at night. Ooh. And you have to go in there with a flashlight. During the day, though, it's really neat because you get to see the night ferns and everything else that grow beneath there, but there's a lot of brush. And I read somewhere that dogs need to change in patterns. And one of the things that helps them with the walk is they're not stuck in the same pattern all the time. It's probably the same thing for cats to a certain extent, which is why they're so crazy. But human beings need that too. You can't just stay in a place with 4 white walls and expect to be able to think, be able to process, because sooner or later your brain's going to go, I need more stimulus, I need more stimulus. And that is taking a walk, that is taking a run, that is maybe lifting some weights and something else just to break the routine and the mire. That's stepping outside, just even for 5 minutes with your cup of coffee before coming back in. It's basically resetting yourself and giving you a chance to do that. And I'm the last person who should be saying this because the last 4 weeks I haven't been doing it. But luckily I have friends who drag me out of my house occasionally.
Yeah, I would constantly say, because one of my biggest vices, enjoyments, has been the Dragon Age franchise. And they released the 4th game in the series. And people are like, are you going to play it? I'm like, I'm going to wait till the end of the year. That's how I'm going to take my 2 weeks and I'm going to be able to play video games. And I almost didn't do it. Because I was like, oh, I don't know if it's going to run on the computer. I don't know. I should probably be doing other things. I should be writing. I should be this. And my husband was pretty much, check your Steam account. What? Gift. It was on sale. Go play. What? Go play. You have to go sit down for 2 hours and go run around looking like an elf and shoot things. But I should go. Okay. So, and what did I do today? I did not do anything creative today, except for sitting here and my brain's running. I sat and played video games for 2 hours. And I did my nails. And I cleaned my desk. Sort of. But
that's the sign of a deranged mind.
But I had to take a break because I've been running nonstop for a week. And you can't be creative if you're exhausted. You can't be creative if you don't take care of your meat sack and brain space.
Agreed. Completely agreed. So for the creative stuff, basically I just sit down sometimes and I just dream. I don't go to sleep, I just dream. And I figured out how to train myself to do that with some music and everything else. Certain music I listen to kind of get me in that headspace. And once I get rid of the junk that's in my head, then basically I can just start dreaming about different things. And I've solved a lot of plot problems that way by just basically taking the time to let my brain turn over what we're trying to do, where I'm trying to go, the images that I see in my head, and the characters. And it does help a lot. And sometimes it only takes like 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm ready to rock.
Yeah.
Brett says you have to take care of your screaming meat. That's what my urologist says. Anyway.
Hi-oh!
Yeah.
Burnout is a real thing, yeah.
It totally is. It totally is. I have a writing playlist that I have in my on my Amazon Music, and there's certain songs that deal with certain characters, but other times I'm playing a song and it just helps me think of stories, think of just scenes. So, and another thing that I do to help kind of like, because there are days I've got to drive in the mornings and then I've got to get back to work and stuff gets broken up, I bring a notebook with me.
Right.
And my daughter will stop and get coffee in the morning because she does not like being at school early. It's an anxiety trigger for her. And so she brings her work. She'll sit and review like physics for 40 minutes over coffee. She's not drinking coffee. She's got some pink coconut thing. I've got my coffee, but I've got my notebook. And if she doesn't need my help, then I'm sitting there writing scenes. I did it Thursday or Friday. I figured out at like 7:30 in the morning the next third of my story. And middles are always really challenging for me. It's like, okay, this scene, and then I flow into this scene, I flow into this scene. Because there was no pressure. Just like, oh, this happened. Great. Now I've got to follow through with it.
But yeah. There's the tough part, but still.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's the same thing with Plotter. Sometimes I'll just open up Plotter and just start fucking around with chapter titles, moving it around, not with any real goal in mind. Just because it sparks my brain to do other things. It's just it's the tactile act, granted it's through the mouse and keyboard, of moving stuff around and putting those places where they need to go. And sometimes it's a file I don't save. It's just there for me messing around and trying to basically declutter my brain. So there are all sorts of little strategies that are used for that.
The age-old question.
Terry's a 90% plotter and a 10% 90% pantser and 10% plotter.
I was going to say, who are you talking about?
I'm becoming more of a hybrid. I did, at least with the Raventail stuff I'm doing, the 3-book series, by the way, is with, or 3-book deal is with Raventail. I can say that now, if I hadn't already. I'm basically doing that as the pitch for the book, was to write the outline. And that's become the pitch for the book, is basically they get to see exactly where my brain is going rather than trying to describe it in a couple sentences. Here's the book. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's what I'm planning on doing. Am I going to stick absolutely to the deadline? Absolutely fucking not. But I have guaranteed the ending. So I got to get to that ending.
You're absolutely not going to necessarily stick to the outline. You are going to stick to a deadline.
And that too. That too. The deadline is the most important part. I still think it's possible that I could get this book done this year. Absolutely. And that's, well, you got 17 days left, or 16 days left, and since today's already pretty much shot. But I can finish this book, at least the first draft, and then kind of be on my merry way. And then hopefully something will hit me about the next book in the deal I have to come up with, because I still don't have one.
Yet.
I still won't have one yet. So V, you are a big time plotter.
I'm a big time plotter. And a lot of part of that is because I co-write, and I want to have a game plan down so that whoever I'm writing with, we have a path to follow. And I'm a plotter when I write for myself because I need to know where I left off. And stuff can change in the middle, but I'm very formulaic when I put stuff together, so I want to know the path that I need to hit. So, yeah, Brett.
Again, with the path reference.
I did not sleep well last night. I will probably keep repeating myself. Just.
What I do like about the plotting is it's basically taking. I'm not going down false roads now. I'm not going down, no outlet here. That's not happening as much as it was when I was trying to pants as much as possible. But I think I've gotten to the point where when I am trying to go through, and especially the beginnings are tough, is to try and figure out what the next chapter is. What happens to happen in the next chapter? What happens to happen in the next chapter as a result of this chapter, and just basically keep doing that way. That's mostly how I used to do it. Basically try and plot quote unquote 3 chapters ahead, and that plot was usually just a name of a chapter with maybe a sentence, and that was it. So now I'm doing a little more in depth, but I'm still not going to get down to, oh, well, in this paragraph, I'm going to say this. I don't get down to that kind of detail. And unless there's something I absolutely positively need to hit that I know of. So it's really just to remind me. Yeah, V's cooking, I'm cooking. Terry, what are you cooking?
I'm going to go out and eat. Luby sounds great.
Terry's been reading and editing.
Yeah. That maintenance phase.
Yeah, I need to get out of it.
I don't know. I don't do enough of it, and I always feel shortchanged. So if you've got time to do it, and
That's the
it's
problem.
helping,
I don't have time.
Yeah.
I need to move on. I need to move on to the next thing. My bills, my renovations need me.
They need that next book. Yeah, I know the feeling. My bank account needs my next book. All over it.
Yeah.
All over it.
God, tuition. I gotta pay another bill.
Debt, children, houses. God damn it. Never stops. Just never stops.
For the good old days when you just took your children in and sold them into indentured slavitude.
Slavitude?
Slavitude? I don't think that's a word, but there you go.
Servitude. It is now, slavitude. You're going to put that in the book. It's slavitude.
Yeah, I should do that. Somebody boot James out of there for saying I'm cooking cats. I'm gonna get him now.
Goodness gracious.
I don't think that's what he meant, but maybe. Maybe that was a reference to something else. Exclusivitude. Slavery with attitude. Slavitude.
Nope.
God. Hey, man, you're the one that reads the spicy romances. Has that thing ever happened? Never mind. Okay, the look of are you an idiot?
You know what?
Yes. I'm waiting.
You're giving her a flashback.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase things on this. There is. I can't. Never mind. There's certain things that I narrate that may not be my jam, but they sell. It's something for everybody. So.
Yeah. Like Edward
yes,
said,
Antoine,
you know it's bad when you have flaws.
I have to think. This came up in a narrator group, but there's a trend of mostly male narrators, maybe not full-time narrators, but guys on TikTok reading like samples of romance novels and making fun of them. And that's not cool, because even though something may not be my jam, it's still a job, and I still get trusted with somebody's words. And nobody books an audiobook if the regular book hasn't sold. True. They don't invest in that. So clearly, if they're investing at that point, somebody, that book is selling. So you have to treat it with some respect, even if it's not your jam. And trust me, I narrate plenty of things that are not my jam, but I do them well because that's my job. So, but I have to pause sometimes and go, yeah.
What can I say? What should I relate? Is this better served by After Dark, which is coming up in
Probably
about 9 minutes?
If you want to know what's coming down the pike for my pseudo, I can divulge some of that in After Dark.
Well, if you have a question or comment about this show, you can visit our website at deadrobotssociety.com and punch that contact button and send us an email. You can find us on Facebook at the Dead Robot Society Writing Community, where we mangle all the madness. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS Podcast, where we are live every Saturday almost at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS Podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS Podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one that is coming up very, 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 very soon. And I have it on good authority. It's going to be spicy. Oh my God, it's going to be so spicy.
Respect my authority.
Respect my authority. At the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Nate Cosby, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. And on that note, we will have a show next week. Yes?
Yes.
On the 21st, we will have a show next week. So if you got time, if the relatives are driving you crazy, come hang out with us.
If the relatives are driving you crazy, go ahead and turn the speaker up, and we'll talk to them for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dreaming of a blue Christmas, the kind that's battery operated. Okay, I'm out of here. We will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a fantastic weekend.
Paul's talking about those holiday vibes.
Ho, ho, ho.
Good. That was good. That was really good. You're really bad. Bye, folks.